This year, I am starting the gardening season more slowly. I'm going to ease into it. I'm going to take things slow. I'm going to be more attentive and more mindful to the moments that I'm actually living in instead of rushing towards the next thing. Welcome back to the Hobby Homestead. If you're new here, I'm Amy. I'm gardening in suburbia in southern Ontario. This is my first video back after the holidays. Holidays for me, I just wrote about this in my Substack. This is not really a holiday, right? The Christmas time season, the winter holidays, for a person who has young children or for people who are traveling a lot to try to see lots of family and friends, it really doesn't feel like a holiday in that it is not at all restful. And I came out of it exhausted. I had my little kids around me all the time who were just hyper and excited, and we had family. And so I couldn't really create content during that time, but I'm feeling ready to get back to it. I have lots of ideas, I'm ready to just be outside in the garden and to sit with my seeds and dream. But I'm going to dream without feeling anxious for the next thing. I am the kind of person who has been not a hater of winter, but like just so eager to get back into the garden when there's snow everywhere. This year is going to be different. This year, I guess we say that every year. This year is going to be different because I found myself a little bit burnt out by the world. I'm just taking a step back from social media, which is very ironic as a content creator, I know. I'm just going to try to be more present in the moment, spend more time contemplating and less time planning ahead for the next thing and just like hoping for the next thing, hoping for things to get better. And that's kind of a metaphor, like I'm hoping for things to get warmer so that I can garden again, but I'm also, hoping for things in the world to get better. And actually being out here in the garden, seeing the snow, feeling the freezing temperatures, it's a good reminder that nature is in control, not me. I'm just going to go with the flow this year and I'm going to follow nature's cues. Ooh, there's a giant bird carrying something. And on that note of being reminded of who's in control, and it's not me, my apple tree was a bit of a casualty this year. This is the apple tree that I failed to cover with fencing. You can see it's got some real good chew marks all the way around its trunk. Now I surround my trees like this one with chicken wire fencing or sometimes welded wire hardware cloth fencing. I do a full surround because here you can get a foot, maybe 2 feet even of snow. And if you just have a little bit of covering around your tree, when the snow rises up, the rabbits can then climb up onto the snow and access your trees that way. So I try to do good fencing. I just honestly kind of forgot about this tree. I have a peach tree that is like 6 inches in diameter, and I made the conscious decision to not wrap that tree this year because it's mature enough, it's big enough that theoretically the rabbits shouldn't be interested in it anymore. They really like the young bark. And actually that's been true. The peach tree's totally fine. And I guess when I realized I forgot to wrap this one and it was already snowing, I thought, well, it's my biggest apple tree. Maybe it'll be fine like the peach tree. And it wasn't. And you can actually get different products to put on damaged trees like this, but I'm not sure it's actually beneficial. I think there's mixed evidence out there for whether it helps or not, like pastes that you can cover wounds with. This is a pretty intense wound in terms of the size. It goes all the way around the trunk. So I'm worried the tree is going to have problems getting water and nutrients up its trunk. However, it's fairly shallow. So I'm going to leave it. There's nothing really I can do. Just for a backstory, I've lived at this place this is our 5th year here, and I planted the fruit trees in our 2nd year. So these trees are mostly 4 years old, but 3 of them I had to replace in year 2 because the rabbits completely killed them. They did this deep all the way around the tree. One of them was completely sawed off and chewed all the way around. And that was the year I realized that I wasn't protecting them well enough. I learned a lesson that year, but clearly I didn't learn it forever because I did the same thing. But surprisingly, I'm not as upset about it this time around. I have 3 varieties of apple trees here. I only really need 2 varieties. They can cross-pollinate and improve the yield, the production of each tree. And this one, I've tasted the apples from. It just produced a small amount, but you know, they're okay. I'm not gonna cry over losing them. My peach and my plum, I feel like I would cry over losing them at this point. And really, this is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to see whether or not the tree can heal itself with this amount of damage. We're always learning as gardeners. I've been gardening for 20 plus years and I'm always learning about gardening. I've been caring for fruit trees for just 4 years and I'm obviously always learning about fruit tree care. So I'm gonna see what happens with that. I'm gonna see if it can heal itself or not. And if it can't, I'll put a persimmon there. There's always other kinds of fruit trees that I want. So, you know, I'm not gonna cry over it. We're just gonna move on. The rabbits, oh, I fell in a hole. The rabbits also sort of demolished the last Brussels sprout plant that I had. It did have all its leaves yesterday, so they had quite a feast. This is a 30-inch tall raised bed, by the way. So, you know, they're not afraid to jump to get at something yummy. There's a couple Brussels sprouts on here still. This was our last big sprout plant. We've harvested the rest and they were delicious. This is a mindset that I'm going to take to heart this year. I've always been working towards this mindset, but now it's like going to be my mantra: care over control. I know you can't control nature. You should know that. If you're getting into gardening, you cannot control nature, and trying to will just drive you insane. And the best thing I've found you can do to be a successful gardener when you really have no control is to just provide care. It's the best we can do. Care for the plants, care for the soil, care for everything around you. And the one thing that I have to care for right now, before I actually have any seedlings growing, I'm gonna have my chickens and stuff, but one thing I can provide care for right now are the wild birds. The wild birds care for my garden throughout the summer. We had cardinals peck off every last one of our tomato hornworms or tobacco hornworms, I'm not sure which it was. Chickadees who were raising their young caught every last one of our cabbage loopers, the white cabbage butterfly. They're caterpillars. They'll eat all of your brassicas, kales, cabbages, broccolis, all of that. The chickadees raised 3 fledges, 3 nests of young last summer in my garden, and they got every single one of them. And so I'm feeding squirrels cow corn that we had laying around to try to deter them from eating all the bird seed that I put in the bird feeders. Doesn't always work. It feels good to be able to feed wildlife a little bit. I don't really feed them during the summer because I have too much else going on, but also because through my gardens, there's tons of food for them that's just naturally occurring. Okay, sorry, it started to rain, so I had to go and get my raincoat. And also it's getting cold. You know, the wetter it gets, the colder it feels. So this morning it was kind of dry. Even though the temperature was technically lower, I was less cold. And now it's wet and my hands are wet and I feel really cold. So I'm not going to stay out much longer. I wanted to call attention to the fact that we are all growing in different seasons. And sometimes we have seasons where the garden is slower or messier or quieter than we expected or hoped. And that doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. Doesn't mean you're alone. It just means you might be in a different season. And that could be a season of rearing small children where you just don't have the time to make everything look perfect or to grow quite as much of what you want to grow or to put it up successfully. The season of life may just be where the world feels like it's kind of a dumpster fire and it's overwhelming and it takes a lot of your energy. And so that's another season of life where you just might not be as productive or on it in the garden. And I'm here to say, let's try to embrace that maybe. Let's just wind down a little bit and appreciate the stages that nature takes us through in the garden. That's what I'm going to try to do this year. So there will be some seed starting content coming up on this channel in the coming weeks because I do start some things early. Some things need to be started this early, but I'm not going to be doing a whole lot of extras this year. My seed starting station, like my big shelving unit, is not going to be up probably until February this year. Kim's building me a little tiny shelf in the basement where I can have one grow light and just do the basics there that I need to start in January. Otherwise, I'm just going to take it slow. I remember the last few years, I felt, partially because I'm on social media, that I had to get everything up and at 'em January 1st so I could make all the content about how you can make this setup for yourself. But yeah, this year I'm just gonna take it a little slower and go with the flow, and you can watch my journey. I may not have content up in time for you to like action it if you want to get stuff, if you want to like order shelving units and do what I'm doing. But do you really need to see that from me, or can you just find that information anywhere on the internet? And maybe what you need to see from me is more just camaraderie and I'm in this too, and let's grow together. On that note, I very much hope that you will come and grow with me in 2026.